Hi Omar, this is Manny. I'm going to spend the next few minutes on the video walking you through the assembly process, and I'll use the Baba chair as a reference, and then just walk you through the steps I'd like you to do to put all of these chairs together because it's all going to be built the same. But I just thought I'd walk you through. These are your three chairs and your cornhole, your backs, your three backs, and then I'll certainly call you in a few minutes and I'll talk to you about these. So I'm hoping that your packers can just pack these individually. These are super sturdy and it would kind of suck to take them all apart, but I think if they can put them in separate boxes, I will put all of the backs and the legs and the arms and of course the hardware that are in separate plastic bags all in one box. And what I've done so that you know which arm goes to which part goes to what chair, I labeled every piece with either this 2005 or family, okay? Even on the bottom, I mean, it's the exact same back, but as you can see, I got family down there. And the reason I'd like you to keep them all together is because when I make these individual. So when I'm screwing these in, right, it's to this back, if that makes sense. So keep all the backs and the legs together, and you'll be able to tell when you start sorting these out, the back brace, the back legs, the front legs, the arms, right and left. Everything is going to be labeled by our 2005 family, right and left. Sorry, I just repeated myself. But let me walk you through the steps. I think you got it. So since the seat is going to be intact, you do not have to put the seat slats. But if you did, or take it apart one day, you certainly can. Obviously with scripting on the front, and then it's starting here and then going back 1 through 7. And then your front legs are going to be labeled underneath. Obviously you can't see it, right and left. Right looking at the chair, so right and left. The lag bolts, right, go from outside in, of course, and then underneath. Tip this forward. Oh, I didn't put the bolts on, but that's okay. It's always going to go washer, lock nut, nut. And you're going to need a 9/16 socket to help you out. And then while I'm down here, all your backs are going to have a little tail in the back, and there's going to be 3 bolts. I mean, not bolts, but screws that go in to secure it so it doesn't shift on the bottom seat. Your front legs go on the outside, lag bolts go through, 2 on each side, right and left, and then in the back, you're going to be able to tell which is the back the back leg because of the angle, right? And then 1 lag bolt outside in. And one thing, when you put your arms, all the holes are pre-drilled on the top, right? And so start with the back, then put your front, just center it to center it. And then one thing, when you're putting the back brace, this is a 22.5 inch. It's the smallest one there. It's the only single one that's small. And so underneath or behind this, I have it labeled right and left, so you have it right side up because again, we're going to be using the same holes I pre-drilled. Oh, and one other thing, when you are putting the back brace, maybe I don't have it marked, but give it about a 1/4 inch below the top of the back leg, if that makes sense, because if you bump it up, then it's actually going to not keep this flush against that. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, so that's the back brace. Oops. That's the back brace, and then the arms go on, and then look for the labeling. You're going to know which one is the Puerto Rico flag. Obviously, arms because of the flag and the hole for the beer kit. That's it. And then the lag bolt in the back going in. That's pretty much it. And then you slip in your tails. You have your 12 screws that go in the back. And one thing that I'm going to caution is these are the only ones in the back, 12 on each back, that get the 1 1/4, the small screws, right? And then just be careful not to go all the way through because then you'll puncture the back of the back and we don't want that. And then the big screws are going to be your 3 on the top, 1 and then 2 on in your top arms. And then, let me see what else. Oh, and then the 2 on each side that go into here, right? So those are the 2-inch ones. So that's pretty much how you put in the back. And of course, I may have mentioned, there's going to be a slat, a 1/2-inch slat, and that's where your tail slips in. And then just center it, button it down, and that's how you put my chairs together. That's on all of those. So it should be pretty straightforward, I hope. It is, I promise. It's not that hard once you start separating all of the pieces to the right chair. You'll be fine. All you're doing is just putting the legs, the arms, and the back. And you don't necessarily have to go in any order. Actually, yes, you do. Put the legs on first. And then the nice thing is because they're pre-drilled, once you put them in, it's going to be even and ready to go. And then the last thing that you put on is the back, actually. So you put on your legs, then your arms, then the back. So 1, 2, and then 3. Pretty simple. Sorry, I should have said that from the very beginning. And then before you tighten all of the lag bolts, that's actually the last thing that you do. I would like you to secure this in place, secure the arms, and then go ahead and tighten the lag bolts last once it's tipped forward and this is brushed up. Oh, and then of course screwed from underneath, then you'll be good. Now I'll walk you through the beer kit. It's pretty simple. I don't even need to label this because you're going to know which one is for the beer tower. It's going to have the hole. Oh my gosh, I forgot the name of the screw, but I'll take this apart. It's pretty easy. The line will be all intact, so you don't have to piece that together. So I'll take that apart. One thing down here I noticed is with the shaft that comes down and goes through, I cut it just enough for this bottom hose to connect to the tower. So just make sure that this nut here is super, super tight, and even gouge it into the bottom of the wood. You're not going to hurt the top, I promise, because there's a gasket under here, but the more far in that you can go, I mean, I have it really tight, then this will be a nice snug fit. In the event, because I didn't get a chance to test out the beer because I just assembled the fittings like 10 minutes ago. Any issues, you call me and I'll FedEx you another piece. My only I don't have a concern. I just wish I would have had this shaft a little longer, but it's super snug and it should work for you. And then underneath, as far as like holding the beer line, it's these plastic clips. So just put them in the same hole. There's going to be a total of 3 of them that go under the arm. And this is very light. So, I mean, I can pull on it and stuff, and it'll stay in place. And then I have my third one back against the back leg. And then this attachment, this called ball and lock system, just disengages. And then this is actually mine, but your new one is in the house. And then your regulator and your CO2s, they're still in a package. So I'll put that in a bag for you. And then these come apart. So, if you ever get a chance, or if you're a beer aficionado, or maybe there's like a beer store, I learned a lot. They taught me a lot. I thought you needed a lot of pressure to run beer on these things, and you really don't. They recommended between 5 and 10 pounds of pressure is all you need. So, so that was kind of informative, and I'm just passing that on. I may have mentioned this, but this opens up like a mason jar, and this is, it's tight, it's sealed in there good. Oh wait, that's right, I had CO2. Once you boom. Since yours is brand new, never used, they recommended that you wash it, rinse it out, use sanitizer, so there's no contamination and it's brand new. And then you can fill it with beer or wine, whatever you'd like. This is a 2.5 gallon keg. Once you put any liquid, beer, wine, whatever, and you seal it, keep it sealed, because once you turn on your CO2, it puts pressure in there. And then I also learned is to save some of CO2 is when you're going to use it for the first time, it's okay to shake it to get the pressure in there built up, and that helps when you open up the beer tap. So that's pretty much it with this. And then when you're empty, I recommend putting like soap and water and then running it through, put the CO2 back on and run it through the beer line, because it's kind of, I mean, I've had a few parties and I let it run for a little bit. Like I waste a glass of beer just to make sure I get any leftover stuff in the beer line. And, you know, it's kind of gross. You don't want to drink that. But that's pretty much it, I think. Oh yeah. So take this out. Okay, the box is going to be super simple to put on. There's two bolts. I'm sorry, two screws. So I'll put those in the bag, two on each side. I only have one now just because I was going to take it apart. And then just